Hi guys, today we're going to start with analytical geometry, and the first thing we're going to do is to find the equation of a circle with center at the origin. We're also going to move it around later, but to start off we're going to do the easy bit and we're going to just do center at the origin. Now after this unit, after the whole unit, you'll be able to find equations of circles either around the origin with the center on the origin of your Cartesian plane, or we can move it around any place and you will be able to find the equation. Now let's just see what a circle is about. You know, a circle is actually a set of points going all around, and if I make those points close enough to one another, it forms a circle. But now what does form the circle? The radius. Now this is the most important part of the whole thing. You know what a circle is, but a radius has got to do with a circle. It's not like the straight line we've done in grade 11 where you've got a y-intercept and a gradient and different stuff. A circle has got only one important thing, and that is the radius. So once we know how to work with the radius, how to find the radius, it's very easy to do circle analytical geometry. And you'll see that is your analytical geometry matric is basically circle geometry. We incorporate all the stuff that you learned previously, but it's very, very easy. It's really the part where you're going to gain a lot of marks in the exam. You should actually get full marks except for a few human mistakes, which you can actually check yourself on. Because remember, whenever we do analytical geometry, you always have to have a little sketch. Even if they don't talk about a sketch or ask you a sketch, you need to draw yourself a little rough sketch. It just gives you an idea, what am I doing? I can see it in front of my eyes. It makes it much easier. Now, you all know the theorem of Pythagoras. I do not even have to say anything about that. You all know the theorem of Pythagoras by now. I'm sure in the middle of the night you can tell me what the theorem of Pythagoras is. So what we're doing here, we're just doing the theorem of Pythagoras. There's the y distance. So all we did here, we said that y distance is the top y minus 0. Because remember there we've got the point 0. And the same with the x distance. It's this x value there minus 0. And because we say minus 0, we can just ignore the zeros, and there's your Pythagoras' theorem. So r squared, which is your radius, is always equal to x squared plus y squared. Now remember what I said? All that is important on a circle is the radius. So if I asked you to find the equation of a circle, I actually ask you to find the radius. And if I do ask you to find the radius, and you've got one point, remember what we always say, if you need to find one unknown, you just substitute in one point, and you'll be able to find that unknown. Let's see with an example. I just want to go back quickly. Just remember this way of writing, because in the next lesson, when we start moving this circle around, it's very important that you know where we got this x squared and y squared from. It doesn't matter which one you put first or last. It's actually the distance between those two x's. So it's x2 minus x1. In this case, it was just 0. That's why those zeros disappeared. Good, but that's for a bit later. Given this circle with center at 0, 0, so that is a very important thing to know. If I know this circle is at the origin, before I go any further, I can immediately write down the equation. Because remember our method, the method that we always use for all analytical, we need to, if we read a word that we know a formula for, we need to write down that formula. And because they're asking you the equation of the circle, I can just write down x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. And there's my formula. How many unknowns do you see there? Only one. Now, if they tell you what the radius is, you just go and fill it in straight away. Did they? Yes, 3 units. So you just go straight away. X squared plus y squared is equal to 3 squared. But because these are so very, very easy, people make very, very easy mistakes as well. Because they don't think, because it's so easy. And then they leave out the squares. So let me warn you, for all of the circle analytical geometry, make very sure, always double check that you've put in all the squares. Because if you didn't, then the sum will be totally wrong. We don't give half a marks for half a formula, then it will be totally wrong. So if I just write it neatly now, it will be x squared plus y squared is equal to 9. And remember that 9 is now your r squared. If they do ask you what the radius is, you need to square root that 9, which gives you 3, and then you also know what the radius is. But in any case, in this case, they gave you the radius, which is just 3. Good. As easy as that. As normally, you must go and redo it on your own. And then if you check on the next page, there is your answer. Good. Now, as you can think, in matric, you will not get an easy one as this. This is just to get you into it, but actually all of them are just as easy. This one just seems very easy because I could have just filled in the stuff. Let's look at the next one. Show. Oh, let's just quickly circle that word. Whenever they say show, it means you may not assume it is true. You must go and test it. And normally what we do, we normally test one side, left-hand side or right-hand side. And then we check if it does equal the other side. That is how one tests. So given this circle with center at 0, and the radius of 3, we already have that because we did it in the previous one. We already have x squared plus y squared is equal to 9. That was my equation that I found in number 1. Now I need to test if that point T is lying on this circle. Make very sure that you only do one side at a time. Left-hand side is x squared plus y squared. And that is empty bracket square plus empty bracket square. You may not at all write down the 9 because then you are telling the point is lying on the line, on the circle, which is not true yet. You need to show or prove it. That's why I'm only doing one at a time. X is minus square root 4. Y is square root 5. And as you can remember, root and a square cancel out one another. A root and a square cancel out one another. So the answer is 9. And now you can just say the left-hand side is 9. The right-hand side is 9. Therefore, that point T, I'm not going to rewrite it, does lie, does lie on the circle. Just answer your final question. They asked you, does it lie on the circle? Then you just say, that point does lie on the circle. And how did you know that? You tested each side separately. So very important that you do one side at a time. Good. So you're going to go and redo it. After you've redone it, you will see there's the answer. I'm just going to quickly do this and say NB. Why? It was the word show or prove. If you show or prove something, you have to do only one side at a time and check if it is equal to the other side, and then you can say it does lie on the circle. Good. Very, very easy. Let's look at example 2. Circle at origin. So I know I'm still busy with the circle that has got its center on the origin. So before I even go further, I can write down x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. Because the minute I hear circle at the origin, the center, I know I'm going to use this formula. It goes through that point and that point. So they give me 2 points. Now, how many unknowns do you see there? 1. Oh, determine the equation. I didn't even read the question because it's so obvious. Find the equation of the circle. So there's my formula. Why do you write down a formula? So that you can substitute in points. Now, I've got only one unknown. If I've got one unknown, I only substitute in 1 point. They gave 2, so what? You only use 1. Use the easiest one, but in this case, both of them has got a minus in. So I'm just going to pick the minus 5 and the 5. I'm going to fill it in, empty bracket square plus empty bracket square, and that should give me the r squared. So it's minus 5 squared, and this one is plus 5 squared, so it gives me 25 plus 25 is r squared, so r squared is 50. Now before I do anything further, you must read your question carefully. Sometimes they ask you to find the radius. Then you will have to square root both sides because you only want the r. And to find the r, you need to get rid of the square. So you square root both sides. But in this case, it's not what they asked. They asked the formula, the equation. So now I'm just going to write down, therefore, my formula is x squared plus y squared is equal to 50. And I'm not going to bother with anything further because that is what they asked. So I did not even use the other point. I will use that maybe in the next question because I'm going to rub this out so you can redo it. But there's also other subsections here. So let's just see, after you've redone it, you will see there's your answer. I'm only interested in the r squared. So I've written down my formula, x squared plus y squared is equal to 50. If they now ask me other questions on the same problem, Let's just see what are they asking. Calculate the length of PQ. So if you connect that P and Q, it looks like it goes through the origin, but you're not 100% sure, but that doesn't matter. They only ask you to calculate the length of PQ. Now you remember length is basically your Pythagoras formula. So I can write down PQ is equal to the square root of, now look what I'm going to do. I'm going to do XP minus XQ square plus YP minus YQ square. Just to go back, long time ago, we learned to number our coordinates x1, y1, x2, y2. If you've got letters on the points that you are using, rather just use the letters. Then you can go straight away. So if you now do the substitution, empty brackets, square, plus empty brackets, square. Just before I carry on, you do remember the distance formula. Eh? It's actually Pythagoras' theorem. It's x squared plus y squared. But because I now want the distance, I don't want PQ square, I just want PQ, I square rooted it. That was where your distance formula came from. So now I must just fill in. X of P is minus 5. X of Q is 5. Y of P is 5. Y of Q is minus 5. So if I work that out, it's minus 5, which is minus 10 square, which is 100, plus, this is 5 plus 5, which is 10 square, which is 100. So the answer is the square root of 200. You can actually write it as 10 square root 2, or you can just leave it square root. What are they asking? Calculate the length of PQ. So there I've got the length of PQ. We need to simplify a square root to give a nicer answer. If I tell you the length is square root 200, you will not really know what it is. But if I click my calculator, or you can just do it in your head, and I take out the squares underneath the square root, I know it's 10 comma something. So it gives me an idea how long that line PQ is. Good. Let's just before I carry on, I just want to quickly go back. They could also have asked you, do you think this PQ is a diameter or not? Now, can you remember in the previous slide, we had the radius was square root, what was it again? Let's just quickly go back. Square root 50. The radius was square root 50, which is 25 times 2, so it is 5 square root 2. Can you remember previously they did not ask you the radius? But if they would have asked you another question here, and they would have asked you, is PQ now, or prove that PQ is now a diameter? Diameter means right through the circle, and that means it's 2 radii. So if I take the radius times 2, which is 5 square root 2 times 2, I get 10 square root 2. And because it's both going through the origin, I can say that PQ is a diameter. Even if I don't know it goes through the origin, it's the longest distance from one side of the circle to the other side, and that means it needs to go through the origin. So if they would have asked that, which they didn't, but you're going to redo this, try on your own. After you've redone it, you can just check your answer. As easy as this. So all the time that we do analytical geometry, we need to write down a formula and substitute the formula. That is why you need to know your formulae 100%. Do not rely on your formula sheet, because if you do not know where to go and find the formula or what the formula stands for, you will not pick the right formula. So as you practice these problems, make sure that those formulae are settled somewhere in your brain so that you can just write them down when you read the word. Good luck. I'll see you next time.